Yo, what's up guys, I'm Fire here back with another video, and today we're going to be bringing you guys another defense in Madden 22. Going to be a pretty good coverage style defense. You guys liked the last one that I did out of this formation, kind of the same scheme type. So we're going to bring you another one for today's video. Now, the play that we're going to run is going to be actually this cross 3 fire press. Now, it's not going to be a blitz, even though you see that it says blitz. We're going to be turning it into majority of coverage. This was one of the better blitzes couple of years ago, but not so good anymore. These cross linebacker blitzes they do get picked up now, so you're gonna want to use it as coverage, but it has a couple of unique zones, couple of cool things that you can definitely take advantage of, and I want to show you guys how you can also bluff a good blitz out of this dollar formation. Now, taking a step back, we're in dollar formation. I'm in Carolina playbook. Dollar is in some other playbooks. I am running Carolina. But yeah, you're going to go to this $3-2-6 formation. You can have auto flip on or off. It's a symmetrical play, but it just depends on how you want the safeties aligned. Usually I'll just leave it on. It's not that big of a deal, but again, you're just going to be running this cross 3 fire press. You can throw some safeties at linebackers if you want, but yeah, without further ado, let's jump straight into it. All right, now that we're out on the field, I'll just kind of show you what it looks like if we were to run the actual blitz. Now, typically with the blitz, what you would do back in the day is you would have to probably blitz one of these corners, and then I think you just kind of let these guys do their thing over here, so you would kind of contain. Again, I don't remember exactly how I did it. Usually I was a 3-3-5 odd blitz type of a guy, but we'll see what it looks like. And yeah, just really weird this year. Player movement slows things down. Those linebackers would come speeding through, and of course you could put safeties there as well. They would come super fast, and now, with the player movement, just everything's slower if you're not using corners off the edge, so we're not going to do that. Now, I'm actually going to switch formations. I'm not sure why I came out in this strong wing, but I do want to audible to gun just so you can get a better look at it. All right, so now we're against the bunch, which is probably a more realistic look at what you would be facing from a defensive perspective. One of the more popular formations, as you guys should know. First thing I like to do is base align. Base aligning is just going to give you the same look on defensive plays, even if you're in different, actual play arts. The next thing that you're going to do is actually move these corners in position. This is something that you want to do on every single play, whether you're blitzing out of the DB Fire 2, which is the blitz in this play or this formation, or you're running the cross 3 fire press. You want to give them the same look. You don't want them to know. Now, a high-level player might recognize that it's a cover 3 or a cover 4 or a man coverage, which is a super easy one, but a lower level player is not going to understand if this is a cover 2 or a cover 3, and moving those corners in, giving the impression that you are blitzing, is going to throw them off significantly. Now, what are we going to do around this play? Why are we running this play? Why aren't we running stock cover 3 if we're not going to blitz out of it? Now, it's going to be a couple of reasons, but we want to focus in on Ward over here, Jimmy Ward. He is a really good zone, the 3 receiver hook, and it actually comes from the safety spot, which is something unique. A lot of times with these 3 rec hooks, it'll be the inside linebacker. Sometimes it's a defensive end dropping into coverage, but now we actually get it with a safety, which is very rare. It's not in a lot of plays, so this is going to be very helpful, and we're going to use this to our advantage. So it helps a lot defending things like crossers, little wheel routes, and it can match on and follow routes across the field. Now, we have 2 extra linebackers. You can actually blitz one of these if you want, and we could just straight up use our Wilson over here and play these curl flats however we want. Leave them at seam flats if we want to, but here's the look at your coverage. Just for this first setup, we'll just rush 4, and we'll go ahead and snap the football here, kind of work over on B. But take a look at RB. He gets followed majority across the field by that strong safety, and this was actually a unique route. It's kind of a post route. So I'll go ahead and show you what I mean by that again. Take a look at your strong safety position. It's going to be this guy. And Sterling Shepard is on a post. And you notice that he's going to follow the post pretty dang far. He's matching. I don't have to use this post until he gets right about here. And from this point, it's a difficult throw. You couldn't really throw it. We got this guy over here that's going to be there. So, of course, by then the ball is loose, sacked, which is why you saw the kind of breakdown in coverage. But this is allowing my user to actually go ahead and, now I can lurk down on things like a zig route or maybe a running back route. Now, as far as the blitz, again, you see one linebacker. He's not going to do much, so it just kind of turns into a standard 4-man rush, which will show different 3-man versions as well. Trust me, because there are going to be more complicated adjustments, but for the stock play, definitely not bad. Again, the most important thing is to base the line, move these guys into position, and then just take your users. So we'll show this one more time, then we'll get into some of the more complicated adjustments. You can definitely contain if you want, but again, that linebacker is generally not going to get free. You see the coverage pretty dang decent for not really adjusting the secondary all that much. So we generally, what I would do is probably rush 3. You're going to take a bluff blitz approach. So if you're not rushing 6, generally I'll just rush 3. Rushing 3 and 4, just, a lot of the time is going to kind of be the same. The one extra guy, does he really make a difference? Not much. So we'll just rush the 3 people. Now, what are we going to do in this case? Now, we have an extra defender here, and I'll show a different type of play, but what I'm going to do is just go with a hard flat. We're going to hard flat Fred Warner over here, and I might even move him out a little bit further so that he's closer to making a play. That's the first thing that you could do. The second thing you could do, man him up. I'm going to man him up on the tight end. Tight ends usually in the flats, or tight ends are usually one of the routes that everybody looks for. They're always thrown to your tight end, and that's something that you notice with everybody. So we'll either hard flat, man up the tight end, and we'll just show it by starting with a hard flat, go like a Z-spot look where we might need the hard flat, and there you see the coverage is pretty good. And I think what I forgot to do there was actually turn it into a curl flat. I think I left it as a seam flat. I'm not sure if I did, but that's what I assume happened when Verrett didn't really follow that up. And again, we would adjust our zone drops if we were playing this defense. I would probably set my curl flats a little bit deeper, around 15, 20 yards. And then we would put Fred Warner on like a 5-yard flat. And then again, in that case, I do have to watch out for Saquon Barkley. Or what I like to do is throw Y on a hard flat. So now we have to watch the deep side on the left, but that's actually okay because we have the middle of the field kind of taken care of by Jimmy Ward, that 3 receiver hook. So this would be a pretty good defense. And if they go to something like verticals, let's say they run verticals. They run something like this. We'll see how Jimmy Ward is going to use her. He should follow RB over, which he does. Now he does stop, so again, that's something that you got to be mindful of. And if that is a concern to you, I believe if they run verticals stock. And I'm not going to move these corners into position every time because it's kind of a pain, but in game it's something that you want to do, take that extra step. But just for me, there's not really a reason because I already showed you and you guys already pretty much get the point. So if they were playing a coverage like this, I'm going to try something out. Let's see what Jimmy Ward does in this case. Will he follow the wheel? He still won't. So definitely interesting. You're probably going to have to use their RB. So if you were to do that, what a defense that you could even potentially go to is actually something like this. You man up the running back, you just man up the tight end, and then you can actually use the 3-rec. I know the 3-rec is a valuable zone. I know it's helpful, but if they're running heavy verticals and he's defending the middle of the field, but he's not really doing all that much because that's a sideline throw, hey, sometimes you have to take the sacrifice. We're just going to go over here and simply defend him like that. And this way we can follow him across the field. You see the running backs defended, the flats defended, and of course that tight end wheel in this play. Now we go to verticals. Now, it's not going to be perfect, but it's going to be a little bit better. So you man up the tight end, you man up the running back, and this is kind of a standard defense for all cover 3s. But again, is he blitzing? Your opponent's not going to know. And if I am using the safety, I'm not going to move him. I'm going to keep him up here. As long as they don't have identifier, they're not going to know. And now you can go ahead, defend this all across the field, so there's no sideline avenue for them to fit that in. So definitely good. Now, if they're running other formations, deep crossers aren't really in that formation, definitely go with the other defense. Another thing you could do, let's say you don't want to man them up, what we could do is actually go with a just complete regular double mabel setup. So you can double mabel, get these hard flats on the field with those 2 linebackers, and then again, use your Ward over here, so this would not be the worst coverage on the planet. You see, you got Fred Warner in the flat over there to make a play. The running backs a lot of times go to the flats. A lot of times you'll see flats on both sides of the field, so hard flatting would not be the worst thing you could do. Now, of course, instead of just going with any of those defenses, instead of putting these guys in hard flats, you can play a standard cover 3 where we could put Wilson over here in a hook curl, which is one thing you can do. Again, you can do different things. If he has a mobile quarterback, if he's using Derrick Henry, if he's using Jalen Hurts, Kyler Murray, you are more than welcome to go with a spy adjustment. But again, a lot of times spying is tough, but just because of how, you rush 3, you spy. That leaves some openings, so sometimes you'll see people rush 2 and spy. So it just depends on what you're doing, what your opponent's really committing to. But this would not be the worst thing to do. Again, you're in a base line. You can just spy one of these guys. If he's using Peyton Manning, if he's using Romo, one of those non-scrambling quarterbacks, you can go with a hook curl. And this is going to allow you to kind of commit all the way over to B. And you see there's not going to be too big of openings. Of course, make sure you set your zone drops to whatever you want. If you're playing just these curl flats, you could actually leave them at default. I would be fine with that. You could also move them to around 15 or 10 yards to kind of play a balanced approach. But the moment you go deeper than that, they're just going to attack the flats, and it's going to be a tough situation for you to really defend just with 2 zones on the outside. But also, you're going to be mixing in other plays. You're not going to sit here and run crossfire 10 times in a row. You're going to run it along with the DB Fire 2, which is a cover 2 shell. You're going to mix in the cover 4 drop, which was I think it's cover 4 drop contain. I posted a video on that actually a week ago exactly. So I do urge you guys to go ahead and check that one out if you want a cover 4 defense, because it's definitely a good defense to mix in. I go over a lot of bluff blitz concepts, kind of the same as this, but just to mix up in coverage, so can definitely be helpful. And realistically, if I wanted to, what we could actually do is get a little bit creative. We could go with some things like this. We could actually put the safety in a little curl flat, hard flat this guy, and then we, man up him on the tight end or do different things. But you just mix him up, especially if he's catching on. You can just do different things like this. Always random adjustments can certainly catch people off guard. So don't be inept to sticking to the adjustments I talk about. You can always get a little bit more creative. You can man up that safety on somebody. We could flip things around, of course. We could do, things like this. You flip these deep zones. And then, actually, if we wanted to blitz out of this, I think we might be able to create a type of a blitz out of it. But it would just probably be edge pressure, where we actually just blitz these slot guys. And then we kind of create just a regular cover 3. See if it actually gets through. I don't expect it to, but we'll try it out just for video's sake. And it doesn't really get through. There's some more adjustments that we could have done to get that a little bit better, but just showcasing some of the creative things that you can do. And that's just one of them, kind of moving all those zones around. But that's pretty much going to wrap up the video. If you enjoyed, drop a big thumbs up, subscribe to the channel down below, follow all links down below in the description as well, and peace. I'm out of here.